hate doing it. But before you accuse me of being some heartless, crazy person, let me ask you a question. How many of you like to feel helpless? I definitely don't, but first let me explain. I need to set the scene. Imagine 15-year-old Ceci, just finished with her freshman year of high school and ready for summer. That summer, I was working at a summer camp for underprivileged kids. My first day, we're driving through the neighborhood and I noticed my surroundings. Rundown strip malls and boxy, unwelcoming auto shops with tall chain-link fences surround the church where I'm going to be working. I'm pretty sure my mom hit the lock button on the car as we drove through. Okay, so my first impression, not very positive. And as I walk into the building and see all the kids I'm going to be helping, I can't help but feel pity for them. I haven't even met them yet, and all I can think is, wow, their lives must be so horrible. But before I can get too depressed, I console myself in the fact that I will be helping them. I think, wow, I'm so great for doing this. Horrible, right? And while I now cringe to think of my self-righteous attitude all those years ago, I think we all have the tendency to fall into a similar trap. We don't mean to or want to, but it happens whenever we're in situations where we feel we are superior in some way, shape, or form, be that socioeconomic or otherwise. It's quite natural, and that's why it's so dangerous. It's why I detest charity work. In theoretical, and most times actual practice, charity is a good thing. Sometimes what it represents, or what it implies, can actually have the opposite effect. But let me be clear, service is not charity. Service should be a humbling experience. It's where you get lower than the other person's level and lift them up. In service, there is no room for self-righteousness. There is, in fact, no room for self. It's completely about the other person. Now, there was a priest who was really inspired by Mother Teresa's work in Calcutta, and so he went there to kind of figure out what she was doing and help out. He wrote a book about his experiences, actually. But when he got there initially, he was ashamed to realize that the work she did physically disgusted him. There were people lying in gutters with open wounds, people dying, smelling, crying. It was ugly, and he didn't want to see it at first. Yet service isn't pretty. If people were so willing to help those in need, there would be a lot less of a need to do so. The fact of the matter is, however, there's so many struggling, so many in poverty, so many hungry and thirsty, because their situations aren't flashy or fun to deal with. It's not a candid Facebook photo from your trip to Africa. It's about sacrifice, a commitment to others. Also, service isn't comfortable. In service, we have to give up control, and that's uncomfortable. We have to be vulnerable, and that is also uncomfortable. But it is necessary in order to avoid demeaning the people we're trying to help. Helping people is a good thing. Wanting to change the world is a good thing. But ultimately, is it about us or the people we're trying to help? That's why charity doesn't work. It doesn't put the other person first. In fact, it makes them completely reliant on someone else, their money, their clothing, their help. But how do you think that makes the person receiving this charity feel? How would you feel if you were someone else's charity case? It's not a pleasant feeling, but why? Well, we like to be in control of our own situations. We have a satisfaction in caring for our needs. It's a distinctly human characteristic, and as such, every person, no matter their situation in life, deserves the right to agency in their situations, the right to help themselves. And as a 15-year-old, I didn't understand that. I thought that volunteering to help others was enough, but it's not. I felt good about volunteering. I looked at those kids as something to change, but that's not the point. People aren't objects that get broken and fixed. They're beings with lives and self-efficacy. If someone is in trouble, they need to know their partners in bettering their future, not just a problem or cause that needs to be solved and set aside. If someone is in a situation less than ideal, we as humans have a duty to offer our assistance, but as equals, not as superiors. Fortunately, not all my service experiences have been as misguided as that of my freshman year. This past spring break, actually, I had the opportunity to go with SMU on an alternative breaks trip, and it was hands down one of the most amazing experiences of my life. And here's why. The work we did was completely insignificant. Now, don't get me wrong, we did good work and helpful work, but in the grand scheme of things, what we didn't have a long-lasting impact on those we came to serve. On my alternative breaks trip, we went to Kimberton, Pennsylvania to a place called Camp Hill. It's a sustainable agricultural community for adults with disabilities. It's probably one of the friendliest places on earth. Everyone was so genuinely kind, it was beautiful. And there, I helped out with different tasks around the farm. But what was most profound was the relationships I was able to cultivate with each of the villagers. I got to have one-on-one conversations with these people, and some even developed into strong friendships. I learned so much about the people I came to help. I also learned a lot about adults with disabilities. Adults with disabilities are not broken or lacking in any way. Just because science may say they have something physically wrong does not mean their thoughts or feelings are impacted in any way. Through this experience, I built relationships with other people. I broke down barriers and destroyed prejudices, simply by getting to understand the life experience of someone else. So even though the work we didn't really have a long-term impact in the grand scheme of things, I took back many impressions and ideas with me that have changed the way I see the world, and which in turn have an impact on those around me. I know deep down that we all want to change the world. We all want to make our mark in some way. In fact, it's SMU's motto, "World Changers Shaped Here." But what does changing the world look like? Does it mean changing the infrastructure of society? Does it mean creating a new technology that will save hundreds of lives? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it just means getting to understand the life experience of someone else. Just listening to them and helping, but helping in the best way that serves their needs. Changing the world, helping other people, it's all possible, and it starts with us. By changing our perceptions about service and volunteering, we can have a greater, longer-lasting, and much more compassionate impact on the world. We want to help our fellow humans, and we hate that some people struggle, but sometimes it's easy to fall into those superior or self-righteous attitudes like I did summer after my freshman year. So how can we change that? I want to leave you with this. I would encourage you, the next time you go to volunteer, that you put yourself in the other person's shoes. We all know we don't like feeling helpless, so let's not put someone else in that situation as well. Let's shift our mindsets from charity to service. The action might be the same, but changing your attitude changes the way you approach that action and the people involved, which in turn has an extraordinary effect. Also, don't be afraid to get uncomfortable, to do the work that no one else wants to do, because ultimately, that's the work that makes the most